Coates9580 coming at you. I just got this dead cat off the road. No. That's just me. Black Kitty sleeping as the wood heater's cranking away there. Just want to give a bit of advice to Gerald out there. Few things I've noticed and whatnot. I notice that you're just over a year older than me and Elvis. I'm only about a month or so different from Elvis age-wise. By what I saw in your trespass notice, I'm not going to yell it out loud, but basically you're about 36 now. I hope you still have that place in Florida. If you don't, you really want to think about getting another place again. There are places that I've seen in America, $7,000 or $8,000 for 10 acres. The property taxes were $88 a year with no building restrictions. The guy who bought this place spent a few $1,000s getting a shack put on it and lined the insides with plaster and done probably one of the worst plastering jobs I've ever seen. And yeah, but he had a go at it all. Obviously, these hillbilly areas are covered in snow in the winter and well below freezing temperatures. So Florida would have been, you know, a good idea. I hope you still have the Florida joint. Instead of, you know, this place I'm on now, I signed off on this mortgage about 2 weeks ago. Should be about another week or so and I'll get the actual physical deeds for this place. Still got to play around with a bit of government bureaucracy at the bank end with the land titles office and all that sort of shit. This isn't my first place. The first place I had, I was 26 years old. It cost me $33,000. The ground was actually not soil, it was actually all soft slate. That's right, the ground was technically pretty much rock or exceedingly heavy clay. Most of it was actually just soft rock. I woke up that my parents weren't going to last forever when I was about 25 and a half. 2 weeks before my 26th birthday, I signed off on my first property. With money I'd saved up and a little bit of help from my grandparents. I sold that place to do renovations on this place. The wall that is right behind me was almost non-existent. In other words, it had weatherboards, you know, whatever you want to, not shingles, but it's almost like paling boards overlapping each other. Those, I just went around with a couple of fingers and pulled them all off because they were so rotten. And the framing that was holding them was exceedingly rotten. All this here behind me is basically new wall, new framing, new cladding, new interior lining, which is actually plywood, and of course it's insulated and everything. This is quite a very well insulated room actually. There's a foot thick insulation in that ceiling. I'm not joking. Anyway, in the process of doing this place up, to clean the place out and fix it up, it took me basically a year because it was so, where I'm standing now, like stacks of newspapers like you wouldn't believe it. But the point I'm trying to make is that as much as van dwelling's good, it's a great idea to have an actual physical house to come back to. Now, there's a few things I'd also note with some of your money. You're making money, it's going well. I tend to notice there's a pretty high tendency, you seem to fritter away more money than I could imagine, really speaking. I work quite late, very late, to the point that there are no shops open when I come home, except a couple of 24-hour Hungry Jacks, which is basically Burger King. and McDonald's. And sometimes I end up going there. I end up going there a little bit too much. As a result, that's getting a little bit more than it used to be. I'm trying to cut out on that. I'm trying to deliberately eat quite a bit of food here before I go to work. Boiled potatoes. I've grown spinach outside. I've got some kale that I've got to pick tomorrow. Be eating that before I go, along with eggs, stuff like that. You seem to spend... there's some things in America they tell me are cheap. Houses are cheap, but the property taxes are ridiculous. And they always told me that fast food was cheap. And then I'm looking at some of the fast food you're buying, and bloody hell, it is ridiculously expensive compared to the fast food here. And I might add that the food here, the quality levels is shockingly higher than American food. You'd be surprised at how good the food was here. But that's beside the point. The point is, you got a van to live in. I hope the shower system works in that van. If not, there's a nice little thing called a Coleman Hot Water on Demand, which is not a brand that I recommend, but there's other portable hot water systems, many of which could be just stuck on the back of your van if your existing one doesn't work, or put in place of where your old one used to be, because there's quite a chance that some of them will be smaller. Try and have a shower in the van when you can, obviously, and cook in the van when you can. Eating takeout food, and you're showing these things, you know, $26 for the two of these. So I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? You make this money, but half of it is just in one hand and out the other. You know, think a little bit, dude. Save a bit. Now, I know that winter comes, you go to Florida, you live in Florida. Whether it's in your van or your house, I'm not necessarily 100% sure, but there's nothing like saving money for a rainy day. And I just see so much of it you get, and you just fritter it away. Instead of going and buying all this fancy stuff, have a go at I know it's not great for your health and all that, but you know, the old $1 bloomin' microwave meals that Elvis gets, the cabbage soup, the this, the that, the microwave lasagna, you know, maybe mix it up with a bit of ramen noodles, but not just that. Go into the discount. Go and have a look through the meat freezer for discount sausages, like he does. Go and look for discount. I'm the sort of person that looks for discount everything. In fact, when I come out of a place, the items I have in my basket are all discount items except for eggs and bread. All the rest are discount items, a whole lot of them. That's how I roll, and it saves me an astronomical amount of money. And with you eating out all the damn time, you'll save a massive amount of money. Going from $26 on a bunch of fast food to... what, one of these $1 meals? A couple of these dollar meals with a few ramen noodles. A dollar meal with a bunch of corn on the cob, cheap sausages that were on the discount, you know? There's nothing wrong with eating things that are close to the use-by date. Hell, there's a place I go to where they stock almost everything that's either 2 weeks off the use-by date or up to, oh hell, I've seen more than 2 months over the use-by date, and most of it is damn good food at pretty blasted good price too. I got stuff there that's a quarter the price you'd expect it to be. I got stuff sometimes it's only 1/8 of the price, which was a whole bunch of energy drinks. You know, everybody else was paying $3.20 a can. I got it for 25 cents a can. You know the little Red Bulls? There's another one called Mr. Pink you probably heard of in the United States. I was buying whole 24 packs for $2 for a whole 24 pack. Needless to say, I used to be a little bit of a reasonable user of energy drinks, but I've tried to wean myself off all that crap. And this is, you know, part of the thing, you know, as well. The Motel 6. Now, I know there's a particular reason why some nights you're in the Motel 6, but You got this van to live in, or you got this van as just something to drive around? Because 3 nights in a row at a motel that costs, what, $80 US? Dude, I went right smack bang in the middle of the state capital, surrounded by all the yuppies and frickin' rich CEOs and businessmen and shit like that, and I got, for the equivalent was 110 Aussie, which is probably about $80 US, not some Motel 6 with an old bloody shower and a double bed. I got a thing with a double bed, a huge big glass shower, a big flat screen TV, the whole bang all fitted out with a fridge, the whole works and jerks for 110 bucks. Right smack dab in the middle of a capital, not some off some bloody freeway, smack right dab in the middle of the cosmopolitan grandiosity of the state capital, the second largest city in the country. This is the thing, you know, and 3 nights in a row, come on, dude. Which gets me to the next point, Natasha. Roxanne, you don't have to leave on the red light. Roxanne, you don't have to show your body through the night. If you know all the words to that song, you'll know it's a guy who's fallen in love with a prostitute and wants her to quit being a prostitute. And I don't know what the fuck's going on with Natasha, but I'll tell you this one thing. $250 an hour, you should be able to get a prostitute 9 months pregnant with twins that you can slap her ass red raw and leave fingerprint marks in her tits. I mean, $250 an hour isn't a girl giving you a blowjob while you buy her an expensive enough large takeaway burger for, I notice you got 2 there, one for yourself, and I know the other one's for her. I'm not stupid. And then $250 an hour for a blowjob? Now, as much as I don't like the idea of treating pregnant girls rough, dude, this is not some freaky pregnant girl sex, transgender ass sex, nothing weird like that. This is a girl who isn't even having sex, they're just giving you a blowjob. Last time I checked, now, from sources on the internet, you get a Colombian girl or a Mexican girl to give you a blowjob for 20 bucks. Not $250 with a meal included. I don't know if you've fallen in love with this girl or what the fuck's going on there, but you don't marry prostitutes. It just doesn't work that way. It never works out with prostitutes. Seriously, it doesn't. Ever. Some guys have tried, seriously. And I've heard somebody who is a female model answer that question. Because a guy asked her and she said, "You're fucking crazy." No way known. No way known are these girls going to end up being a nice girl that you take home and then have children to. You never will turn them around that way. And she was in the industry, so she knew enough. I mean, she wasn't a prostitute, but she was a big boob model, bloody big boob model. But, you know, she knew what she's talking about. She's got a YouTube channel. This is the thing, you know. Don't go wasting your money on this crap of buying good takeout food every night. Having an RV that you can live in and drive around in your home and then go and sleep in Motel 6 and go and pay $250 US for a blowjob and buy the girl a meal on top of that. It's ridiculously expensive. I'll tell you over here, for what we earn, if you want to get it back to terms of silver and gold, or even back to terms of US dollars, we earn quite a lot more than Americans. There's guys I've worked with who have quit where I am. Now I'm on $27.50 an hour. They've quit where I am to go and take on jobs $31 an hour. Now these are just frickin' ham and egg jobs. They're not rocket scientist jobs. They're not anything that's highly qualified. You know, and this is what we're on. You look at that in terms of US dollars, you look at it in terms of gold and silver, either way we are on a lot higher rate than the average Americans are. And the prostitutes here, you can get yourself something that is celebrity grade for what's equivalent to about 160, 170 US an hour, not 250. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is don't save money as such, but save money in a way. I'm trying to tell you, it's a good idea to save money, but it's not actually a good idea to save it in cash. It's a good idea to save it in silver. I'm talking silver eagles, but you can go better than that. You can go silver buffaloes, XAG. You'll see what they are. If you get into bullion dealers, not numismatics, because they're the collector's pieces that are just stupidly overpriced, but silver eagles, Canadian maple leafs, silver buffaloes, and there's a whole stack of other ones out there. Don't buy any off eBay. Don't buy any from China, because they're all got fake shit in the middle. They got what's actually mainly copper with a bit of nickel in it in the middle. And it's not actually silver at all, it's just silver foil. Invest in a bit of that stuff, and it doesn't matter what happens in the politics of the world or all the other shenanigans or any other conspiracy theories. If you've saved your money as silver and gold, it will always retain value regardless of anything else. And that's something you may want to think about, so that when the push comes to shove later on, regardless of what happens to anyone's 401k or anything like that, regardless of the value of the currency, all this shit's probably well over your head, but trust me, I know finance inside out and back to front, and there's a lot not to be trusted, and silver and gold is the thing that always follows through. In fact, I've done quite well this year with what I've got, just by sitting on what I've got, which has gone up quite a value this year. In fact, damn near 40% at one point there. Increase in value in one stinking year. Doesn't happen every year like that, but some years you get a pretty good run. It's sort of dropped down a bit. I've probably only made 25% this year, but it's not about that. It's just about holding something that has value. But anyway, just keep that in mind, as opposed to just turfing money out. One day you might want to upgrade to a newer RV. You know, your machine's old enough. You know, it's one of these days you might want to be more like about a 2010 model or so. Then you'll have money sitting around for that. Or, you know, silver that you can convert back to money to get into something newer if something was to happen to Dino the dinosaur. Anyways, it is an old machine. You got to keep that in mind, you know. Yeah. Anyways, just a little bit of my thoughts on it all, and there you go.